We'll talk
What
about
are you guys reading? Anything good?
What am I reading?
Yeah.
I'm reading.
Want to talk about what you want to talk about Maverick?
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't seen it.
How have you not seen it yet? You've got a son too. How have you not seen Maverick?
Military background. You love movies. Oh, Eric,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah, no, I get it.
We've just shamed Eric. It's the new fat shaming. It's Maverick shaming. That's what we just did.
All right. I got Maverick shamed.
So anyways, guys, welcome to the Men's Success Club Power Lunch. It's been a while. We've got a lot of things going on, but we wanted to make sure we checked in with everybody, see how everybody's doing. You can see Mike's got the new $1 million book signed. So a lot's happened. Your book came out. Obviously, well, how many books have you actually written yourself? Not the ones you've done for your clients.
So this is technically my 16th book. I classify it as my fourth full book because the other ones were kind of like small documentary style of other people rather than me giving advice and telling my stories. So fourth official my book, 16th total.
That's awesome. So he's got that going on. I've been working on my new podcast, Blunt Force Discussion. So I've been super busy. I've actually taken a step back from Truth Will Set You Free for a couple weeks, if not a month, if not 2 months. I don't know. They did a pretty dang good job. So whatever. Maybe I won't even have to jump back on there. Do you know the Let's Go Brandon guy, Bryson Gray?
The race car guy?
Yeah, the music, right? He wrote
guy
the song.
There was Loza and Bryson. Well, Bryson, he's very super Christian guy, and he does a lot of political rap. Anyways, he filled in essentially for me this week. He was one of the guests on the show, so they were pretty funny. We definitely have some difference in opinion, but they did a really good job. So, Eric, what have you been up to?
Dude, I got certified in a new, I do corporate trainings and coaching and things like that. So I got certified. I've been certified through DISC, but this company uses birds. Like, so you go into a company, you do a training, and a year later you come back and you're like, everybody says, yeah, I've had DISC training before. And you're like, oh, what styles are you? And they'll be like, I don't remember, as maybe a D it wasn't sticky. But here it's these birds, dude. So like the D is the eagle. The I is the parrot. The S is the dove. And the wise one is the owl, right? So you literally go in, and now that you have these birds to talk through, people get it. And right away they're like, oh, I'm this bird and that bird. And this is how these birds communicate, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, super stoked. Julia came on board. So me and her designing corporate trainings. Got some opportunities to design a few sales programs for a couple organizations. So that's where I'm at, man. It's been pretty exciting.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
I like the idea, by the way. That makes a lot of sense. Nobody remembers the letters. Nobody.
I have a huge issue with DISC before we start the show. Like you have all these.
It's DISC, Anthony. We're not talking about.
Oh no,
else.
I like.
So make sure you understand.
That's cool. No, I have a huge problem. I have a huge problem with all of those different systems because the amount of research that's gone into them is huge. What they actually can help with is huge. But corporate HR departments, they pay $20,000 to have a DISC expert come in, or like the EI, the ED, whatever the heck people are. They bring them in, and they pay them a crap ton of money for a day, and there's no follow-up. It's not sticky. It's not whatever. And you've literally spent all this money to set yourself up for success. And there's a huge issue with follow-through in any of that DISC type training or any of the stuff in that field. That's my biggest problem. So I like the stickiness to it. That's good.
So it's not. So you don't have a problem with DISC. You have a problem with the way corporations decide to teach and train.
They think, they're like, oh, this will help everybody out. Everybody gets to know each other better, and then a week later, nobody does anything.
Yeah. So check this out. I'll show it to you. This is why I really like this company. So they have actual like birds, right? That people can put on their desks. Stickers, name tags they can have them so that and then you teach everyone how to communicate with different styles. And so you walk into an office and I'm a big eagle, big parrot, don't get into the weeds with that shit, right? Like don't get into the weeds with me, direct to the point, quick and out. So that's how you can change the culture. But I totally agree with you when people say, hey, come in for a half a day or 2-day training. I'm like, with the attention span and the ability to remember things, you need at least a 30, 60, 90-day program, maybe even 12-month program that once you teach it, then you coach the leaders on how to actually use it and implement it to make it very sticky.
So for today's Power Lunch, our show, guys, ask some questions. We got a couple people watching. I added this to the Be the Change YouTube page. Share this out on the Facebook page, obviously, for Men's Success Club. It's predominantly for men. If you can, be a man. And if you identify as a man, probably not the show for you. It's a different situation. But ask some questions, and we're going to come up with a topic, maybe based on some of the questions we get. And I will come back to, I still do videos on Be the Change. I'm just not doing Tuesday nights. Anyways, we'll figure out what we're going to talk about, but show is beginning right now.
So I have a topic that I want to bring up, and this might be a great question for both of you. You train corporate employees, and then you also are at one hell of a speaker, Anthony. So I got a question here. I was at this event recently, about 3 weeks ago, speaking about how to write a book and use it as a marketing tool in front of a bunch of some of them multimillionaires, but very successful gym owners. And I was up there speaking, and this is one of my, I guess you could say, maybe 15th like speaking gig. For the very first time, I could feel like I had a pulse, or I had a finger on the pulse of the room. I could tell what was going on. It was because I was so aware. And I looked around, I was like, holy shit, they're paying attention. All right. And then I started to do certain things, and I didn't know if it was landing or not. So I got lost. Like, I mean, I didn't mess up my speech at all, but I just started to lose maybe the finger on the pulse, probably minute 12, minute 15. My assumption is that you only have so much time to really get the message across for them to start to lose attention. How do you keep your finger on the pulse maybe at minute 18, minute 20? Because at a certain point, I couldn't get a feeling of the temperature of the room. And I was just doing my thing. I know this stuff so well, so I just did it. And I landed, I think, with a very strong ending. But how do you stay on top of that? Do you just kind of do a temperature check throughout the speech and, get more interaction to get them back up? What do you guys recommend?
What first question before we get into it? How blinding was the light? Great American Summit, that was a lot of light. That was hard to see. So were you able to see the
there? Yeah. Oh, I could see at this crowd. Yeah. It was amazing. Like, for the very first time, I remember it's 130 people there. I know at minute 5, I had them. You know what I mean? Minute 15, I don't know. I don't think I did have them, but I don't know. And so is that just a normal thing? Because I listen to Jim Rohn, I listen to Tony Robbins. You'll hear them sometimes say, guys, wake up. What are you doing? You hear the great speakers do a temperature check or to bring them back. I don't know if I have the confidence yet to do that, because I'm not at the Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins level to guys, wake up. What are you doing? I don't know if I have that yet. And maybe you need that to bring people back and wake them up. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Did that speech get recorded, Mike?
Yes. I haven't seen it yet, though. I'm waiting for the content to come my way.
If you send it to me, because I'd love to watch it and see exactly what you're talking about and pay attention to minute 5, minute 20. I really don't think it's about the minute. I think it's about the content. So your craft. So I don't know if you were teaching or you were telling stories. And so the more stories and the more laughter, the more engagement. And so I remember, I'm certified through John Maxwell team, and one of the lanes they teach is the speaking lane. So what they did is they took it's a 3-hour thing where they took John Maxwell's speeches, 90-minute long speech, a couple of them. And the guy that's the trainer freaking broke it down. And he's like, look how he starts and went minute by minute to what John Maxwell does. Look how he just made you laugh. Look how he took it low. Now he's teaching. Why? Because as soon as he heightened your emotional senses, you want more. You got some dopamine, you laugh, now you're leaning in. That's where you teach a lesson. Now dopamine's gone. Bam, make them laugh again. Tell them a story. Take them high, take them low. It's a fucking roller coaster of emotion.
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah. That's what you got to do when you're a speaker, man. That's how you keep their engagement.
Well, you bring up a very good point. I had for the very first 5 minutes some heavy hitter like jokes, and it wasn't even like real. I mean, in the very beginning, I started off by saying, "This is a good way." Hey guys, you're probably wondering what I do. I look at books differently, and I get on the call with people and I say to them, "Listen, if you don't write a book, then there is absolutely no chance that I get paid." And so it does. I got it real serious. I brought it down and it busted out. Then I had a great picture of Joe Biden on the screen that just really lit up the room. I had no idea it was going to land so well. So for 5 minutes, it was laughter. It was common, like, easy going. Let's have some fun. Then I had to get into the teaching aspect, and I could tell their attention was starting to fade a little bit. So that is where you kind of lose them. Maybe you got to bring them back.
What did you feel like you had to teach?
Well, I was teaching them, number one, I wanted to tell them the importance of a book. It's not just about sales. It's not just about your business, but it's about identity. So I wanted to break it down into here's how to get a book done in a very short amount of time. And if you were to do it on your own, just break it down to 15 lessons, 15 stories, tie it to a specific moment in your life, almost like your darkest moments where you really learn something. And so I was teaching just really, I guess you could call it high-level principles when it comes to writing a book, but it still was teaching. It wasn't jokes. It wasn't, it wasn't even me going into a personal story. It was like, here's what I do with my clients. And so it was the essentials of the talk for them to know what to do next. But it wasn't like the jovial laughter part.
Were you giving any of your own stories throughout that?
Yes, I was sprinkling them in for sure. I just noticed that it was, because people came up to me afterwards and were like, "Man, it was awesome. I love that part." And I'm like, here's the greatest takeaway. Some of the things that I didn't think were that important were the things that came up. They came up to me afterwards and were like, "Damn, I love that you said that you didn't like come from money, or I love, you didn't do this and you really screwed up and you didn't read a book really until you were 22 years old." I'm like, that's what you remember? That is unbelievable. It's the little things when you're not preachy, when you're not teaching and you're just having a conversation. It's crazy how that's what they pick up on.
Dude, I think what was your goal for the speech? Was it to teach them how to write a book?
My goal was to show them how they could use a book to elevate their business in many different ways. So, I didn't want to go up there and say, "Guys, you need to write a book and here's how to use it," but not give the potatoes of like, "Hey, here's how to get it done. Yeah, this is amazing," and all that. But I wanted to show just enough for them to understand how easy it is to do. And I guess the end all be all goal was, listen, you guys got crushed in 2020. And I got crushed for a little bit, but the way I got out of it was multiple revenue streams. So you don't want the government coming in and shutting your gyms down anymore. You don't have to be reliant on anybody or anything. Start to create multiple revenue streams. And here's how you do that through a book. So I guess that was the main mission.
Yeah. But I think the main mission is, and call Mike so I can help you get this book out in 30 days.
Yeah, well, that's it, because I talked about Rich Dad Poor Dad and how it was ghostwritten by Sharon Lecter, and you have to understand, like, for someone to even really embrace the ghostwritten book, they have to understand this outsource your weaknesses approach. And some people are just not there. "Oh, I really want to write my own book. Oh, I want to build my own website. Oh, I want to do this." To understand like the next level of like real wealth building, you gotta let go of certain things that hold you back. Yeah. And I learned that the hard way. And I have to show that in a very short amount of time for them to believe in me. Like, listen, all the most successful books up here were ghostwritten. So if you want to be very successful when it comes to multiple revenue streams, you need to give up control. And writing technically is a non-revenue producing activity. So you guys are gym owners, focus on your revenue more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a bunch of different things I want to break apart real quick. So you first off, the one thing you notice is what somebody picked up from you was something you didn't even think would land.
Yes.
So there is a million of those points. So you're in your head when the crowd has to lull, just like he was talking about John Maxwell. It is a good speech has ebbs and flows, and there's points that are going to be boring. And yes, the better you get, the more you can snap people back into the room when you feel it really, really, really losing. In a 25, how long do you speak for? 30 minutes?
It was about 25 minutes. Yeah.
As long as you are halfway decent in what you're talking about, you're not losing anybody. It's their choice if they want to zone out when you're teaching your craft. There's only so much you could do when you're trying to help them and they're zoning out, to be totally honest. But the fact that you had ebbs and flows and the little stuff is what landed with more people than you realize. That's all that's important. So part of when you feel like you might have lost some people, that was your own subconscious getting in your head because you weren't telling a joke. You weren't doing something funny. But that's not the whole, you don't need to do that at all times. You actually, the points, your humor is going to be funnier when you come back from a boring 3 minutes of content. So,
True.
And then the key is always, and I got this from Terrence actually. So every point needs a story and every story needs a point. So when you get through like some of the fact that you have your own books and you've got your own situations and what got you there, the only finessing that I'm sure, and I know you said you tied your personal life to it in many ways, is to find a way to nonchalantly do that with almost every teachable point that you have. Is somehow have like a story that people don't even realize you're telling a story, but you're relating it all to something.
They don't realize you're teaching and you're telling the story.
Right.
Yeah. That's the best, man. But the fact that you could feel the pulse, Mike, the fact that you're on it, you're out there fucking speaking, that's the only way you're going to get good, man. This is awesome. I remember this guy. I got a job at Xerox. This is how quickly I became one of the most hated guys in that office. I came in, you know me, I'm pretty direct, and I hear these guys, and both of them are kind of chubby, just getting into workouts. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to be doing, if I do this, this, and this, I'm going to get better at my pull-ups. And the other guy's like, you know how you get better at pull-ups? You do push-ups or you do like some other bullshit. And I just turned around like, you know how you get better at pull-ups? You do more pull-ups.
Repetition, man. That's it.
Well, and the other thing is, and I always like this, and the best way to wake people up, and Tony Robbins does this probably more than anybody else, because he also has the ability to work with an individual on the fly with no problem. Think about what happened to you during the Great American Summit again, where there was the person that interacted with you.
Yeah.
Even though you were only talking to one person in the audience, it engages everybody. Everybody now, it refocuses them. So if you were to say, instead of that one, which was a tough situation, and you handled it great, if you decide to actually get comfortable enough with utilizing someone in the audience for your story, game changer, because that also puts everybody on attention. Like, oh, is he going to call on me for something? Is he gonna engage me?
And this is natural. This is not planned. I think people wake up when that happens. Yes,
exactly.
Hold on, you can't leave people who are watching who weren't at the Great American Summit hanging like that. Come on, tell the story. What happened with Mike and that lady?
It was Barbara too. What did she ask you?
No, it wasn't Barbara, was it? It was somebody else.
Barbara. Yeah,
no, it was Barbara.
No
it
way.
was Barbara. No, not Barb Allen.
Not
okay.
not Barb Allen.
Barbara Daniels. Yeah.
Okay,
What did you say? I can't. Or what did she ask? You're like, if you're at your lowest point or something. You're like, what if you're at your lowest point or something?
She was like,
that?
well, yeah. What if you? It was something really, really severe.
During your speech.
During my speech, yeah. So I was up there, and she just called it out. And I mean, I actually get excited about interactions, so it never scared me one bit. But I was like, what? You know, like, because I do these calls pretty much like 3-4 times a day where I just do question, answer. So I feed off of questions. And so I wanted to hear. I just couldn't hear. And like you said, you're blinded by the light. You can't hear what's going on. I'm actually looking at the wrong person while I'm answering the question. And you just got to make it seem like nothing startles you. Because I think what people are doing when they're sitting in that chair is if they see you startled or nervous or a little bit unsure of yourself, they shut off right away.
Yeah, truth.
So there was one thing that I went over with a client yesterday, and this is something to bring up. My client, Kevin Thatcher, really successful guy. They call him the Title King in Florida, owns a huge title company. And he says that he joins like BNI groups and different chambers of commerce, basically to just be connected to, movers and shakers. But it hit me, why don't I join certain BNI groups and chambers of commerce? I'm not looking for clients, but what if I go there just to get more access to speaking gigs? Like all of a sudden when you are on these chambers and all that, you are going to be speaking. You're going to care because potentially you get clients, but you'll have access to way more speaking abilities, leading to your point, Eric, about getting just reps under your belt. Just
Join
whatever
the
you
Rotary
can do.
Club.
Yeah.
Join the Rotary Club, because that's not like a networking organization. Like BNI, you're required to come in with 2 leads. So everybody's like giving you their cousin's name and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Chambers are hit or miss depending on who's in there. If you have a plumber and a AC guy and a mortgage person, it all depends on the quality of the chamber. But the Rotary clubs, they're designed to give back to the community, and they require to have a speaker every week. And so once you join a Rotary club, you have access to everybody in the Rotary community, including every person who schedules speakers for that club. So that could be really good for you to do that.
It's a great idea, though. Even people watching right now, just get reps under your belt. You can only practice so much by yourself, whether it's via Zoom or, putting up a camera.
I used to tell myself that when I was 14 so much.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
And get somebody to do, give you feedback, record yourself, watch it. Can you pay attention? I'm like my worst critic, dude. For that, Anthony and I, we were a part of Mind Motion Academy separately. Like I didn't recommend him. He didn't recommend me. Just randomly, Jim Lutz reached out to us back in the day, I guess, asked to do a course and upload it to his platform. At least that's how it happened with me. I don't know how it happened with you.
Yeah.
So I did it, man. I was looking at my course. I'm like, this sucks. I'm like I'm my own worst critic, because I get feedback from, I have feedback from the audience. I hate doing shit just in a camera. And so I redid the whole thing. Huh?
It's different.
Yeah. For sure. So I redid
we'll see
the whole thing.
that whole thing launched I think it just launched this last week. We'll see how that goes.
June 1st. Yeah.
They put a lot of money into that. They've got some pretty decent speakers and coaches. We'll see how that goes. See, interesting stuff. So I did last night, and I always get people always ask the question like, why do you go do stuff? And obviously, Mike, you go to every conference you possibly can, and you've met everybody and their mother, and that's why your business is blown up. It obviously didn't. It's not like you went to a conference and right away you've got 72 clients. It happens over time. But like last night, I went out with a guy that I've met like twice in my life, but we know each other from the same industry. And we were just kind of BSing. And obviously, like I've talked to Eric about the podcast coming up. I've got Tony Van. Well, first guest is going to be Chad Prather. Then I got Tony Vans coming in.
Nice.
And then
love Tony Vans.
Yeah, I can't wait. We doubled it up so she could be in town. She's in town for a Monet thing. And then the next week, I've got Brian Artist. You know who that is?
No.
Dr. Brian Artist is the guy that is the like super anti-remdesivir doctor that did the whole one with Stu Peters. It's in the water.
Whoa.
So I got Artist for the third one. So that one I definitely can't put up on YouTube.
I like this person. Yeah. Holy smokes. You will definitely get shut down.
I'm talking to my buddy. We're talking about the industry that I used to be in that he's still in with promotional, marketing. And then, he had a few drinks. We had a few drinks and I just kind of spitballed. And Kelly's like, why are you going out at 10 o'clock? And I'm like, I'm just going to have a couple drinks, get out. I'm around. I never get to see him. And I think he's putting in a decent amount of money, at least for a one-time thing for the show, which was nice. So it's good. Cause yesterday I just heard somebody talk about the insanity of trying to raise funds for a show that has less than 250,000 followers. I'm like, well, we're gonna have to prove that wrong.
Yeah, I think just people believe in you, dude.
And that's a key. And I was with Matt Locke this last week. Matt Locke used to be on Blaze briefly. He had a pretty good, decent podcast show. It was always him. He's a super smart guy, really fun to listen to. He's having some issues right now with like just people that invest and whatever. And he knows Chad Prather pretty well. And the whole conversation was anybody, I guess 5 years ago, anybody trying to do what Matt Locke was doing 5 years ago, it's a suicide mission. And it's interesting because Chad Prather's, as I text back and forth with them, has been super supportive of what I'm doing. And it's like, right now, this new show's got a whopping 300 followers. And he's like, no, you'll get this done. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully I could use his connections. He just interviewed Kyle Rittenhouse. Oh. He's got some really big names. If I could bring them in the studio, I think that'll help pretty quick, you know.
Awesome.
I'm excited about it, but that's the whole reason we go do things. You have to continuously get out of your house and make things happen. Period.
Like right now, there's an event. There's actually 2 events going on this weekend, and I just feel bad about missing them because there's going to be a point where there's going to be so much happening once you're connected to so many people that you'll start to feel like, man, I should be there. And then you have to pick and choose because, you know, once your business starts to roll, I would assume you have to focus on, you know, what's the greatest return on investment, but also, you know, it's all, there's always another event. So you can always say, well, I can't make it to this event, and everybody's texting you, hey, where are you at? But I guess that's the game, right? That's that you have to put yourself in many rooms, and eventually it might become overwhelming, but that's a good thing. You prayed for that at one point. So you better enjoy it.
Yeah. I'm going to see right from here. I'm going to go. Kids. Yeah, exactly. Kids, it'd be a game changer, especially when they live with you. I don't really know fully, but whatever. I'll be seeing Barb and Dave right after this. They're in Dallas. We've got the celebrity softball thing. So I'll head to their hotel, say hi, and then get ready to come back tonight for a networking. Well, it's a bunch of people getting drunk, but you know, networking event. You know what I mean?
How far are you from Dallas?
Right now I'm in Dallas. My barber's in Dallas. I live about 45 minutes away. Well, when I'm with Kelly, it's an hour and a half, but hour and 45.
Gotcha. Very cool. What are you doing this weekend, Mike?
So, so instead of going to these events, like there was 2 events, one in, I think, Dallas and one in Utah. I'm going to this expo, Living Dead Weekend Expo. I don't know if you guys are horror movie fans, but my brother and I are very big into the horror genre. So this weekend's going to be a big expo at the Monroeville Mall. Are you guys familiar with the movie Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead or anything? Yeah. So it really close to where I'm at is this big expo because it was filmed there. And so since Pittsburgh is the zombie capital of the world, all the big movie stars are going to be there for this. And so we're going to be heading out there Saturday morning, probably do Saturday and Sunday. And then I'll be doing a lot of motorcycle riding, hopefully Sunday afternoon. So, and sitting by the pool, getting way more tan, way tanner than both you guys. As long as I'm more tan than you guys, then I'm happy.
I spend one day in the sun. You put me on a boat for a day, I'm darker than you like that. That Italian
you
blood.
Got the mustache, so shit. Yeah, you got me beat there.
I'm gonna be. What was I gonna say? So you all the one in Dallas? Are you talking about FitCon? Because that's this week too.
No, it was. It's called Legacy Family. Okay. That was the one that I missed out. Tim Brought's event. So I'm a part of this thing called Legacy Family. It's like this organization that gets together through Zoom, and then they do 4 events a year. So I missed this event and last event, so I have to make it to the next one.
What's the group about?
They're all real estate investors, multifamily. We're doing a book with Tim Brought's. I've done books with many of those people in that organization. So they're all about real estate. I like giving my money to people in real estate, and then I not worry about it one bit. So I don't like worrying about anything when it comes to tenants or contracts or, taxes and all that. I'm just like, all right, I trust you, and you guys are very committed, and you love real estate. So here you go. And I'm just going to be focusing on books over here in this nice little corner with a nice light.
So it's kind of like what Cardone Capital is, similar?
Very similar, yeah, where you just kind of just give it and then they take care of it. Obviously, they make more money because they're the ones doing the active investing part. But
Sure.
I think it's I get bottled up. It's basically outsource your weaknesses. I get bottled up and worrying about bank loans and all that. I just want to give my money and to someone I trust, because not only is the investment important to me, but the relationship. And Tony Robbins always says the quality of your life is based off two things: your emotions and your relationships. And so all I'm looking to do is invest in good relationships, because 10 years from now, I don't want to be starting from zero ever again.
Makes sense. I just realized, does your shirt have ruffles on it?
Yeah, that's it. You like that? I want to be a pirate.
You know what that reminds me of is like that trend in like 2010 to 2015 where the girls would have the ruffles on their butt on the bikini, and it just made it automatically look a little bit better. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but I gotta Google this. This is great.
Oh crap, where'd I go? You know what I'm talking about, right, Eric?
I know.
Yeah.
Julia had some. Yep.
Yeah.
Shit. I gotta look these up. No, I got this because I wanted to wear a shirt. This is what I was wearing during the speaking event. I'm like, ooh, I could go to like the how like Gandalf goes from Gandalf the Gray to Gandalf the White, right? So I was wearing black everywhere, Well, then I was like, you know what? I'm going to this event. I need a whole new look. All right, I'll go with a white shirt. All right, it can't be just a regular white T-shirt. I'll go with the ruffles. And then I don't know if you've seen my shoes, but I got the really bright, like neon green shoes. So I wanted the whole new look, and I figured I went from Gandalf the Gray to Gandalf the White with this. So this is the breakout period.
I dig it.
So are you guys, you mentioned Maverick. Are you guys going to talk about this or?
Well, that's what you need to do this weekend, Eric, is you need to take your son to
Maverick.
All
right.
By the way, I can't believe anybody out there watching. Rose Huff seems like she's very active. Thanks for being here, Rose. Glow. That's very awesome.
I don't know who Glow is.
I don't know Glow either, but great to see you. It says, oh, look, Russo looks cleaner. shaved look looks cleaner.
Yeah.
Good deal.
I do what I can.
But Maverick, best movie I've seen in years.
Really?
Is it? Now, here's the question. Is it the best movie you've seen in years, or has it just been a long time since a halfway decent movie has been out?
Because I just watched Dodgeball again with my kids. I'm just saying it's pretty up there.
I would answer with that's both yes to both of them.
Yeah.
Because most movies are terrible. Like I remember going to see what was it? Predators. I think it was Predators. I fell asleep in the movie theater. Like there are so many bad movies that I've looked forward to just because I'm an 80s child. I want the sequels to be good. So most likely I'll go and see them. I think the movie that I liked previously to this that was somewhat decent was Rambo 5 or whatever it was. Yeah, so it's been a long time. That's been like 10 years too.
Oh wow.
I do think there's some decent movies. I think it was really good because finally, like, and I've got a whole thing. I just added a t-shirt to my website, make patriotism cool again. Like I think that's the change of aspect that we can have in this like conversation in this country. Like how do we bring people back? Like you can't force somebody to be a Republican or force somebody to be a Democrat or agree with you, but if we like realize how great the country is, and I think Top Gun kind of did that. The new Top Gun did that, and it brought us back to this feeling of I think the timing is so important. That movie was supposed to be out 2 years ago. It was supposed to come out in like right to COVID. So I think the timing of the movie mixed with the fact that it was like Tom Cruise came on beforehand, like we made this movie for you. Like,
is that awesome? I thought that was great.
So good. It was cheesy. It had the right element. You knew kind of how it was going to end up, but then you didn't, and then you did, and then you didn't. And it paid homage to what the movie was. And I think I've always been a big fan of Miles Teller too. So I think he played that role perfect, and I think it just fit. It fit. It was great. It was great.
Well, so the house where that girl lived in the first one, where he pulls up on a motorcycle in San Diego. Was it San Diego or San Francisco?
San Diego.
San Diego. Okay. Yeah, I've been to that house.
It's awesome.
Like I don't remember how with who, but yeah, we were there or somebody.
Oh, you remember? You're just not telling the story.
No, I was in the Marine Corps, and we were going to a Padres game. We just happened to be in San Diego. We were in Yuma, Arizona. Went to San Diego for a Padres game, and whoever took us there in like a 15 packs van was like, "Hey guys, let's stop by this house and check it out." And
Oh, that's
That was the
awesome.
house. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
speaking of military Memorial Day stuff, because I've been getting back in shape pretty good, been feeling good. I just did a 3-mile treadmill in a sub 6:25 pace. I'm feeling good. I've decided to, because I was busy on Memorial Day. So I did the Murph, everybody, you do the Murph on Memorial Day. I can't do 100 pull-ups no matter who pays me. So I do the reverse where I just jump and then I slowly bring myself down. I've decided that I'm going to do a Murph every Tuesday. Toughen Up Tuesdays is what I'm calling it. So I'm doing the Murph every Tuesday, and it in a matter of 2 weeks, because again, I've been running a lot. I'm in better shape, but I still can't get rid of like the jiggly stuff. The Murph in 2 weeks and just doing a little bit more of that, game changer for the actual body firmness.
Nice.
Are you doing that with a weighted vest or no?
No. So my goal is if I do this 52 straight weeks is to buy, and I've never been good at pull-ups. So I'm going to say that the mile part's easy for me, obviously, but I would say that my goal at the end of 52 weeks is to do the Murph legit next year, where I am doing actual pull-ups with the, 15 or 25 pounds? Can't remember what the vest is. Whatever. With the weighted,
do whatever you want.
Yeah, to do it with the weighted vest. My goal is if I do this every week, that by 52 weeks I should be able to do a legit.
So every
100%.
Tuesday you're going to be doing the Murph.
Toughen Up Tuesday. Yep.
So it's going to be a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, right?
Squats, and then another mile at the end.
Another mile run.
Yeah.
The problem I always have with that is once I do the 300 squats, I can't walk for a week.
I can usually run. I can run no matter what. The first time I did it, and I've done it in years past, and I forget. But I hopped on the treadmill for my last mile, and I was like, "Oh, hello!" Like legs weren't working just right. But no, I break, and you could break it up. You don't have to do it all at the same thing. Like I do 10 of the pull-ups, 20 push-ups, 30 squats, and I just go in a rotation over and over and over again. It takes me about 45 minutes, but
to do that part.
Well, 45 minutes.
I'm so tempted to say I'm going to do it with you. I'm so freaking tempted to say I'm in.
The only hard part really is for me is those stupid pull-ups. Jeez.
It's a lot of pull-ups, man.
Yeah.
Squats would be the one thing that I don't like.
It's
body squats. It's just body squats.
I don't know. I'm with you, Eric. If I did 300, I'm not being able to walk for a couple of days. So
yeah, you can't even sit, dude. So you gotta then you really watch what you eat, because some things make you want to sit a day later. You gotta be careful with that.
Truth. What was the other thing I was gonna? Oh, do any of you guys know a guy by the name of? Let's see, mutual friends. No, you guys aren't friends. You know who Ryan Stewman is?
Yeah. The hardcore closer?
Yep.
Is that who the hardcore closer? He put on an event in the Dallas area. I got to get hooked up with him. It looks like
$1 million mastermind. I was there last year.
He had some heavy hitters at this event. He had E.T. He had Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
That's my.
He was supposed to have Tom Brady.
And then Alex Rodriguez filled in for Tom Brady, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he just had massive names, and he sold out a 3,000 person arena. It looked badass. If I would have known about it earlier, I'd have gone. Dave Brown just told me about it last week. So
yeah, the first time I found out about Ryan Stewart, he was kind of like cocky. I think he was in a mortgage. Maybe I think he's got a good story. Like I might have spent broke jail time, recreated himself. But as I learned more about him and just followed his stuff and see some of the comments, his videos, he's a pretty cool dude, man.
I think you got to have a chip. I think there is a fine line between cockiness and a chip, and he clearly has. It is cocky. Like I've looked at his posts now that I've started following this week. If you're going to be a closer, you have to be that's your persona, I think, and it works for him. I think the key behind it is just you can have that persona. Just make sure you're a decent person, and everything I'm seeing about him, he is. So It's like you can be that flashy, hard-nosed guy in front and cocky and a little bit on the arrogant side, but as long as you've done right you're going to be under a microscope that way. And if you've done right by the people around you, you're gonna get even more respect because they're like, yeah, he seems like an asshole, but he's a great dude. Like that's better than the alternative, which is like, I thought he was such a good dude, but what a piece of shit.
Yeah,
like you'd rather be decent not in front of the screen than in front of the screen, and not decent people. So I want to meet him. I think he'd be another good one for the podcast too. So try to get him on.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna work on Crowder too.
Oh man, I watch his stuff all the time. I gotta join Mug Club. I haven't joined it yet.
I say the same thing.
I want to join. And by the way,
I don't know why I haven't.
He's the one that gave me the idea. Number one with the lights, but I want to give all my clients a mug, because then that's like Mug Club. You know what I mean? Write a book and have a mug. So he's a genius marketer.
I spent XYZ dollars and all I got was this stupid book and a mug. That should be a t-shirt.
Yeah. I did make a shirt I'm giving to all my clients, and it's that one you probably saw me post it where it was the devil whispered into my ear, "You're not strong enough to withstand the storm." And it's spelled Y-O-U-R.
Your
yeah, and then I said, I whispered back into the devil's ear, it's Y-O-U.
Apostrophe R.
Yeah, I'm cracking up because usually I see posts like that, and I whispered back, "I am the storm," and I'm like, shut the fuck up. That's so cheesy. And then I read your shit. And I'm like, that's hilarious.
That was great. So I made a shirt of that, and it says, "As I was writing my book, comma," and then I have that phrase. So I want to give out to my clients.
I like that. It's good.
That's awesome, man. All right, for the men out there, real quick, I want to share this with you. I've been reading this.
Yeah,
As
good
a
book.
Man thinketh. Man, I tell you what, guys, this book, and you got, if you look at kind of like the legends of thought, you got James Allen, you got Wallace D. Wattles, but all of this was written before Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Man, there's the stuff in here is so freaking deep that I'm like studying 2 lines for an hour. Like, hold on, what? Like, this is insane.
Well, that's because you read it at 11-year-old level, but that's a different.
I read at a 42.5-year-old level. Thank you very much.
I read real good. Okay.
I read real good, but it's not about reading. It's about really understanding and consuming this content. And he speaks 1903 English. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a man thinketh.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's a very short read. Anybody out there, pick that up. It's awesome.
Clearly not for me, but yeah, very long read. This is going to be my 52-week program here.
I'm too busy to read right now. I'm busy making sure I watch all the footage of the January 6th hearings. So I gotta make sure I get really into that on the.
Oh God, I was about to say.
What is that about?
By the way, what you just said, I was over at my parents last night. My mom was like, "Are you watching the stuff that's on TV?" And I was like, "What stuff that's on TV?" She's like, "The January 6th stuff." I'm like, "What do you mean? Is they still talking about that?" Like, I had no idea at all.
I had no idea. You're serious about it?
Prime time. It was on ABC, NBC, ABC, and CBS on primetime last night, and they're going to do more of it. They are airing the January 6th hearings as if it is a Hollywood movie right now. It's live. Like, get over it. It's done. Like, it is such a massive.
They need a distraction. That's how bad. That is how bad what's coming down the pike. But that's how bad it is right now with inflation and gas prices. They need major distraction away from what's happening in this world, which means, guess what? It's going to get way worse if they're putting this much stock in something. I mean, you got Joey going on Jimmy Kimmel. Can't even make a sentence.
Highlights of that.
Can't even put a sentence together.
300 capacity magazine.
Doesn't make any sense. But for him to even do that, it just goes to show you they're in real trouble for sure. I mean, and anybody paying attention, that's even worse.
Stock market's down another 714 as we speak today in the Dow, 400 in the NASDAQ. It's bad.
I saw something pop up regarding travel restrictions got just removed, like about, something happened because inflation, the number just went up again. Like, it's actually becoming visible about inflation. So what's happening with this travel restrictions, Eric?
So Julie and I actually booked a trip to France, and In France, they just lifted the mask mandate on public transportation. You don't have to do it. And America is no longer requiring a COVID test to come back to the country. So that's kind of what I paid attention to because we're going to France. But
that's important. That's a biggie, by the way. That's the whole narrative has crumbled.
Yeah. Well, you know, and this is gonna be interesting. I know we're getting political, so I just got my hair cut. And
let's get political, baby.
It's the last 10 minutes political. So the woman that is across from my barber, she's always, you know, she got the purple hair and she biracial and I can hear her always talking, and she wore a mask up until like I think 2 months ago, and I listened to her, and then today, because she's got a special needs child, and she was talking about how the best teachers that she know are having to leave and go to small towns because they're forcing like the kids to do this, and she's like, I get it, like how do kids learn like this? I'm like, this is stuff we've been saying for a year and a half. And now you're coming around like after you've posted your black square and your rainbow flag and all these different things, and now and how bad the anti-maskers are, and now you're realizing kids can't learn. It's like,
I want to talk to you guys about the gun stuff, man. Did you guys see? I saw a clip for Joy Behar talking to I don't know who the black lady was, but she's like telling her the comment she made. I don't understand how libs don't realize how racist that is. She
so racist.
As soon how did she phrase it? Like as soon as black people start buying guns, then they're going to make up laws against guns.
Then they'll actually make gun laws, assuming that black people don't own guns.
And by the way,
legally,
if you look at how the girl responded, there was an obvious like, did she just say that?
Right? Yeah.
There was an obvious reaction inside. She couldn't even. The crowd clapped, but she knows, since she was a black woman, how racist what she just said actually was.
But I don't understand the mentality about it. Like, let me just break it down to you. I didn't hear Crowder, but like, okay, hold on. So if you're saying that if you're saying that the government's going to come against it because they're racist, they don't want black people to have guns, stand up with the black community and helping them get guns to protect themselves.
There were so many things wrong with the comment, because ultimately she wasn't talking about the government. She was talking about Republicans. She's like, if Republicans know that black people have guns, so that it was already pitting the Republican side as racist, and then it was painting the black people side as non-gun owners, and then saying that then they need to. There was three things wrong with it. The best was Crowder's response. He's like, you know, she's got like a black dude on her security detail that's probably armed. And he's like, she goes in the dressing room after, he's like, hey, yo, Joy, you know that was some dumb shit you said, right? Like, you know, I protect you every day with a motherfucking gun. Like, what are you talking about, Joy? Some dumb shit.
It's different when you're on camera. That's what it is. She's a different person on camera versus off. But that's my whole thing. Like, look, your argument doesn't make sense, because if you're anti-Republicans who are going to take black people's guns away, go stand with the black community and support them in getting their guns and protecting themselves.
Bingo.
Which one is it? It can't be both.
I just what the House passed has got a lot of things that are like overreaching. I'm a weird like gun control guy in the sense that I am somewhere in the middle. Like in Texas, if you can't get a handgun, and I know that people are going to disagree with me, if you can't get a handgun until 21, and the AR-15s are so hot with the young crowd that is some of them mentally whatever, just like handguns, I'm okay with that age change being 21. If you're going to do with handguns, and I get the fact that that's infringing on rights in some ways. If that's the one thing I would give, it would be that, and it would be requiring everybody to go to a federally subsidized class that owns a firearm. Those two things I'm good with. Anything else,
class ain't going to do anything. I really think it's got to come from a mental health standpoint. There's got to be more testing done on a mental health side to make sure the person is sane, not just never committed a crime, right, and legally allowed.
I got to run, guys. You guys continue here. I got to run it for 2 o'clock. But great talking with you guys. Go see Maverick. I'll see you guys.
Later, Mike. So last thing I'll say to that is the problem with the whole, and I think that that's the trade-off. Like you talk about maybe raising the age to 21 maybe you require a class, because they do say that people that have concealed carry permits they commit almost no crimes. So you do that, and then you take mental health awareness on the other side and studies. The problem is, Eric, who does the studies?
Well, it's got to be a standardized kind of pass or fail,
Who
right?
creates this? Yeah, but who creates the standardized? Then it's the government that we already don't want having that.
Well, the government never creates anything. It's always somebody, right? Like isn't there like a psychiatric institute that can create a certain assessment? Look, in this country, 18, you're a legal man.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I think they need
So
to
why
bring
can't
the
they own a
drinking age
handgun?
down. Why can't they?
Like many states, including Texas, you're not allowed to buy a handgun at 18.
I don't know why. That's weird. I didn't know that's a law.
It's in Texas. You got to be 21 to buy a handgun. That's why I'm like, all right, if you're going to do that, make it 21. Make it all
that
21.
makes sense. If it's already, if that's the case, I don't know a big difference between an AR and a handgun. Like what the fuck?
It's just something that unfortunately I think they use in video game. Whatever. There's a whole lot of weird conversations we can have. But the thing with what about the reverse? If you were allowing a younger age, 18 to 21, to buy handguns, would they be able to do less damage with a handgun than with an AR if they do end up shooting something up if they own one? Probably. It's an imperfect science, and we have 330 million people in this country. And when you've got 10 really sick people, there's really nothing you can do about it but protect the best way you can. The way you protect the best way you can is have more people with guns. It sounds sad. Like I don't want to live in a Wild West society, but you're never. It should be so easy to have the conversation. Murder is illegal. People still commit murder. If guns are illegal, people are still going to own guns. There's no way to fix this problem except for looking at it at a macro level and realizing that we just have a massive issue with mental health. And we've got regulating bodies that had most of these people on watch lists and didn't actually watch them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Ben Shapiro has this thing where he talks about a crazy guy driving past a all Jewish school because there was an armed guard standing outside, but ended up walking into the JCC and shooting the place up a few years back. And it's like, I totally agree with you, man. Armed guards, that's what's protecting our politicians. We should have them protect our children too,
Yeah. It's the world we live in. If you want to ignore that and say, I don't want my kids around that, then homeschool them. But fact is, if you think that you really want to make sure these things don't happen, you have to put everything in place to do the best you can. And that includes hardening soft targets.
Totally agree with you, man. All right, my brother. Well, good luck to you. Tell Barb and Dave I said what's up.
I will. Any final words?
Nah. I got to go check out Maverick, I guess.
Got to see it. Couldn't have said it better myself. Later,
hey,
guys.
If my kids haven't seen the first one, should they see the first one before they see Maverick? Is that necessary?
Yes, I would.
Oh, yeah, because of the history of Goose and all that?
Yeah, I would. Yep.
Okay, I guess we're watching Top Gun.
Turn and burn, baby. Later.
See you, brother.